Well, good Thursday morning. Good to have you. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate all who were able to be a part of last night's service, whether in person or online. Had a good group, and so very thankful for that. And quite a challenging text for me. I know personally, there's a lot of times where different emotions come, and lots of spirals sometimes. And so I found personally that study in Psalm 102 to be very beneficial and practical and convicting, all of those things, but it's always a good thing. A good time of prayer last night. Thankful for that. And, just that little shot in the arm that I think we need during the course of a week. It's a good thing. And encourage you to stay faithful in that. But I need it. I think you need it. And it's a good thing, especially when we're able to get together. So I appreciate it. Appreciate the dedication and the faithfulness. Appreciate your faithfulness on this as well. And I know that many of you watch this throughout the course of the day at different times of the day. And I always hope that it's a blessing to you and a challenge to you. I hope it helps you understand a little bit better what the Word of God is telling us. And then the challenge is to apply it. And that's always a big challenge. Let's study into Proverbs chapter number 3 here this morning. And as we're doing so, there's a lot of individuals who are looking for security, but unfortunately, they're looking for it in all the wrong places. I cannot assure, or I can assure you that you are not going to succeed at finding security in something that cannot provide security. I know that seems like a really obvious statement and arguably a very simple statement, but there's a reality that we oftentimes look for security in all the wrong places. And in doing so, we're going to discover that we really do not enjoy the security that God intends for us to be able to enjoy as a believer. Your life should not be filled with anxiety and fear. Your life should not be filled with insecurity and dread. It should be filled instead with confidence and with joy and with security. But in order to receive those things, you're going to have to go about this God's way, and you're going to have to do this in the way that God has expected and look for it in ways and the locations that He has said it's going to be found in. So, beginning in Proverbs chapter 3, verse number 21, Solomon writes, "My son, let not them depart from thine eyes." Sound wisdom and discretion in the whole context of this. In other words, don't let these things escape from your eyes. There's a reality that if we're not careful, we can lose sight of these things. And in doing so, we're no longer living in accordance with them. Instead, he says, keep sound wisdom and discretion. The word keep here in this sense does not mean to necessarily guard it as much as it means to observe it. So here are the principles all expressed throughout not only the book of Proverbs, but throughout the entire Word of God that are going to indicate to us what God's wisdom is and how God's wisdom needs to be defined. And what he's saying is you need to keep this. You need to observe wisdom, and you need to observe, he uses the word discretion or prudence. The picture is that of insight into things. In other words, these are things that are important. These are things that need to be maintaining our focus. And these are things that we need to not just look at and discuss or talk about or say, yeah, that's a good idea. These are things that we need to put into practice in our lives. These are things that we need to observe. Then the promises begin in verse 22 down through verse 26. And I think we probably need to understand that a lot of these promises are going to be general in their nature. For example, and I'm just going to give you this one. Verse 24 speaks of having sound sleep. Okay, now, the older that you get, that's kind of one of those mysteries. What is exactly sound sleep? Okay, when's the last time they actually slept through an entire night? Okay, and I hear there are people that do, and but that's great. So, what I want you to see, I guess, out of that is that uh, just because maybe you had to get up during the night, or just because maybe you had a restless night or couldn't get comfortable, does not mean that you are ungodly and abandoning wisdom. Okay, all right, so now let's go back and see what it is that is going to happen if I continue to observe sound wisdom and discretion or prudence. Verse 22, so shall they be life unto thy soul and grace to thy neck. Now, here the word neck literally has to do with your pharynx or your throat, okay? And the sense in both of these statements, they're both parallel statements, seems to suggest that these things are going to preserve life. I'm just going to say, and the Bible teaches this, Proverbs is actually going to teach this, that the way of a transgressor is hard. You live a life of sin, and you're going to show the marks of sin, and you're probably going to shorten your life. And God blesses the life of those who are godly. Now, again, does that mean that every single Christian who is godly is going to live to be 102? No, it doesn't. Does that mean that someone who dies at 22 was ungodly? No, it doesn't. We're speaking in general terms. Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely. In other words, there's going to be a security in your way. There's a confidence, but that the reason for that confidence is because of the way that you're living and where your confidence is found. So shall Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. In other words, you're not going to strike your foot against something. Speaking of getting up in the middle of the night, isn't that an adventure sometimes where you're having to walk? And if you've got children or pets, Ruger likes to leave some of his bones that are half chewed that make Legos look like soft foam blocks. And boy, you step on one of those in the middle of the night, and it is hard to have a godly response. We'll just say that. And so there's a reality behind this, though, that when I'm able to walk securely, I'm able to walk with a confidence, I'm able to walk knowing that my life is in God's hands, that what He has brought into my life has been sovereignly directed by Him, and that makes a lot of difference when we navigate our way through life. Verse number 24: When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. You're not going to suddenly be startled, suggested by the word fear. And Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. In other words, your sleep is going to be pleasant. I think there's one of the passages. I think it's in Psalm 37, maybe. I could be wrong on the reference there. But the psalmist talks about, no, it's not Psalm 37, because he's in a context of danger, and he's expressing his trust in the Lord. And he says, I lay down and I slept. There's a lot of difference between lying down and sleeping. And so many times we allow the anxiety and the cares of this world and the cares of our life and all these worries, and they keep us up. Listen, that's not what God intends for us. And that is not reflective of keeping sound wisdom and discretion in your eyes. You've let those things escape, and that's why those struggles are there. Be not afraid, verse 25, of sudden fear, something that suddenly comes, a sudden panic, or don't be afraid of the destruction, or the Bible uses the word the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. There's no doubt that it's coming, but God knows the difference between the righteous and the ungodly. And so stay faithful and don't be afraid when you see God's judgment falling on the wicked. And here's the reason: for the Lord shall keep thy confidence. The Lord will be your confidence. And shall keep thy foot from being taken. He's going to keep your foot from being captured. In other words, God's going to take care of you during this time. And does that mean it's always going to be an easy time? Well, it certainly does not mean that, but there still is a reality behind this that I'll be able to face this with confidence. And there's a reality that God's going to take care of me. And so this needs to be the confidence and the trust that I go through things. Now, it's one thing to say all these things on this side of the camera when life is going well. It's another thing when you're the target of these things. And it's no fun. It's no fun to be that recipient. But here's the reality behind that: it's all in God's hands. And there's a bigger picture that we've got to keep in mind. The wicked are not against us, they're ultimately against God. And the reality is they will despise the messenger because they cannot stand the message itself. And so let's be faithful. Let's keep sound wisdom and discretion from escaping our eyes, keep our focus where it needs to be, and we'll discover the security that God promises. But in order to experience that, we've got to look for security God's way. Appreciate you guys joining me this morning. I do hope that that you have a good day, that you're able to keep your focus where it needs to be. And Joyce, I'll be praying for that. That's no fun. And so looking for a water leak when there's no evidence of one, but yet it's, yeah, anyway, been there, done that. I'll be praying that you are able to find that easily. So appreciate you guys. God bless you. Lord willing, I'll see you back here in the morning. Hope you have a good day today. And if you're down here in this area, stay inside, stay cool. All right. God bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care.